Good morning, everybody. Wow, what a crazy last 24 hours. We had both our videos flagged, and of course, when that happens, I'll take those down because about 5 to 10% of the time, those flags will turn into strikes. So I took them down, and so we had our live show get flagged. Now, both of those are up on Odysee. If you don't know, we have everything backed up on Odysee. So anytime a video comes down, all you've got to do is go to Odysee and check it out. And I think that'll be the strategy that we use moving forward to basically protect the channel. YouTube has basically, they usually give you about 24 hours. And if you see anything weird with the video, then chances are I'll usually just take it down just to avoid a strike and stuff like that. Now what did it for the live show? Well, I think what happened, the reason why that got flagged was because we were talking about a fake labor shortage, and we exposed an agent that was at the crapper hole, and we were telling you guys that the whole thing was one giant fly trap, basically a betrayal all the way to the top. And they don't want people's left-right paradigms to fall down. Every time I've usually caught a strike on a video, it's usually because we've exposed the right-left paradigm. They do not like that. And when you show proof of that, they get really upset about it, because that's where their power lies. Their power lies in the right-left paradigm. As soon as that whole facade comes down, then people begin to wake up. Now, the cats and dogs video, that kept getting copyrighted, so I had to keep re-editing it and re-uploading it. I did it like 10 times, and no matter how much I sliced and diced it, it kept getting flagged. Now, that's up on the backup channel, and I may leave that up there, even though it's copyrighted. So today, I have something else for you guys. We're going to talk. Basically, now we have to talk like we're in third grade, right? We got to be careful now. I hate being careful, but this is what it is now. And because we need to get this information out to as many people as possible. So let's get into today's decode. And we're going to basically focus on the re-edited trailer from the film Cats and Dogs. Hopefully this time it goes through, because this is important. And this is why I wanted to stick with this decode. Now, this was a film that one of you recommended to me. You're like, Casey, there's a weird film out there about a guy who experiments on beagles. And I was like, okay, I'll go and watch that. It was from 2001. It's called Cats and Dogs. This was 19 years before the demic. And what I found was shocking. Basically, all of the elements of our current reality in this 20-year-old film. Now, for those that don't know, Ouchie was accused of funding some dark experiments on beagles. And the film that we're going to look at today seems to have foreshadowed that. Now, understand that based on the newest updates on this story, they are now denying that they took part in that specific experiment involving the beagles. Okay, this is the Independent. It just went up a few hours ago. And they are now denying that they were involved in that specific experiment. But look at this. The agency did go on to specify other instances of experiments on young dogs conducted with the support from the allergy entity as part of their efforts to develop a crap scene for other diseases. So they are still experimenting on dogs. Now, here's what they're doing here. What is this all about? Did they or didn't they? Well, I believe this is a desensitizing ritual is what it is. Okay. And how they do that is they basically throw out these very bizarre allegations. A lot of people jump on it, spread the information, and then they back it out with some kind of justification for it or denial. And so what happens after a while, because of the trauma, you get desensitized to it. And then you bow at the altar of science. And that's what they want. They want you to have full trust and compliance through this gaslighting ritual. So, what else is in this film? Well, as we go through it, you're going to see a hair-sniffing, bow-jiving meme in the film, which seems very unlikely, but it's there. You're also going to see the Weekend at Bernie's meme, or the talking corpse meme, which is also descriptive of bow-jiving. This is what people, believe that he is, basically an empty suit, possessed by a spirit. I mean, this is nuts, you guys. Let's get started. So let me give you the plot of this just very silly movie that came out in 2001. Definitely made for children, right? So in this movie, cats and dogs can talk. They're basically self-aware. They have personalities like people. And they're the ones that really control the world in the film. And what they do is they pose as like dumb animals, but they can they're secretly very intelligent. And they navigate through life in plain sight using covert operations and movements undetected by humans. So this is the plot of the film. And of course, dogs and cats don't get along, but they take it a step further. And basically, the dogs and cats battle each other for supremacy in the animal world to maintain their place alongside humans. Now, there's a story here, and they talk about how the last great battle was in ancient Egypt, when the cats used to rule the world alongside the Egyptians, but then the dogs took over to gain the title of man's best friend. Now, in the film, the cats vow revenge, and they hatch this plan to basically infect humanity so that they are allergic to dogs instead of cats. And they do this by reverse engineering this scientist's dog allergy crap scene. And the whole story centers around a beagle named Lou. He's at the center of the struggle, and he finds himself adopted by a family of scientists of this particular scientist, and he's the one that invents the crap scene. We have to call it that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check in the chat. And then there's a boy here you're going to see next, and he befriends the beagle. And the film opens with the boy unloading eggs. Now remember, eggs mean womb. That the eggs and womb are synonymous. Let's start listening to this here.
And be careful with those eggs. Your father needs them for his experiment. Okay.
Now the father needs the eggs for the experiments, and the entire film is his father, the scientist, doing experiments on the beagle, which is exactly what's happening right now in our reality. Now, the boy is reluctant to accept the beagle at first, but the mom explains to him that dad can do experiments on the beagle.
Okay, Mom.
Now we're going to get into the soccer ball in a little bit. So,
your father does need him for work. Look at him.
So, of course, this is Goldblum, Jeff Goldblum, and he was in The Fly. He was also in Jurassic Park. And as we go through this decode, you're going to see how specific this film gets to our current reality. Now, why would they pick 2001 to launch this film? Because they knew it would be another 19 years before the next operation after Blind 11. Now, here's the dad here. It's Goldblum. He's coming out of his secret lab. And now, as I go through this, I'm going to be pausing this many times because, like I said, I edited and re-uploaded this several times, and it got flagged every single time. So to avoid detection, we're just going to interdisperse this with some commentary, and this all falls under fair use, right? Now, here's where things get very specific, because the beagle becomes the center of his experiments. Now, the family name is Brodie, as you just saw on the mailbox. And at first, I didn't think there was anything to that. I didn't think, why would I go through every single name in the cast and decode it? But something told me to dig deeper. Now we all know what that something is. That's the Holy Spirit. So I looked up the name Brodie, and here's what I found. And this is when I knew this was something I needed to decode for you guys. And this is probably why it's been taken down over and over and over again. This is Maurice Brodie, and he is the guy who discovered the Polio crap scene. He did experiments on monkeys. And according to Wikipedia, he was part of a team who gave polio to children, some of whom died. And this is the science that they want us to bow at the altar of. And back in those days, crap scenes sometimes were the cause of polio. I'm just going to read this right out of Wikipedia. Professor John Comer presented his findings first. He had developed a polio crap scene, which he tested in 10,000 children across much of the U.S. and Canada. 5 of them fell ill and were wiped off the planet by polio, and 10 more were paralyzed, usually in the arm where the crap scene was injected, and frequently affecting children in towns where no polio outbreak occurred. He had no control group, but asserted that many more children would have gotten sick. So this is science. This is our science that they want us to bow at the altar of. Okay. So there's a direct link in this children's film to experimentation in a kid's movie. Imagine. Now let's keep going because there's way more. Now, I could have stopped there and this would have been a great decode, just finding that. But it gets even deeper. Watch.
Play catch, you can play frisbee, you can play hide and go seek.
And your father does need him for work. And your father does need him for work.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. Let me see.
You could.
Yes. Perfect.
Now, he tests the I Moon the City to the allergy by sniffing the dog over and over again. He does this throughout the film as he tries to develop the crap scene.
And your father does need him for work.
Response? Huh. Normal. Proboscis viscosity. Ooh. Dander. Standard composition. Retinal.
U.S. text.
Now, I'm not going to play this part because this allegation has now been, they're trying to back out of it. They're saying he wasn't part of this particular experiment, but they were doing experiments on young dogs. Okay. Now, let's keep going with this. Now, originally, I thought that story broke on Goldblum's birthday, but it actually broke a couple weeks earlier than that.
Nights to attract the flies.
Let's keep playing here.
That's excellent. That's good.
Now, the Beagle whimpers every time Brodie goes to grab him or sniff him. And, of course, the whole sniffing meme is Bo Jivin. I mean, how can this be? Well, Bo Jivin's been sniffing things for a long, long time, hasn't he?
Not too acid, not too alkaline. All right. Immune response.
Now, this is all about immunity, right?
Now, protein synthesis and electrostatic.
So,
The new master's a scientist, and for a few years now, he's been working.
So here it is. Here it talks about him, and we all know who they're referring to here. This is Ouchie.
On a cure for dog allergies. It's a big deal because if no one in the world were allergic to dogs, we'd have the advantage.
Dark cloud? Is that what I'm calling my plan?
Now, Now all of a sudden we have the cat side, right? And this is the evil cat. And basically he's working on a project to give humans allergies to dogs instead of cats. He calls his project Dark Cloud, but then they say Dark Storm. And really what they're talking about here is Dark Winter.
Dark Cloud.
How about Storm?
Storm.
Dark Storm, yes.
Project Dark Cloud should go down without a hitch.
Like a seeping mist, I will creep into the dog's center of power and make them quake in fear at the very mention of my name!
Yes. Because like a powerful dark storm, I will make my presence
Whoa,
known
wait a minute.
to the world. Yes.
I want to take another look at this coat of arms here, see if there's anything.
Because like a powerful dark storm, I will make my presence known to the world.
Oh, look how good you're being. Look how good. Where's that? There, I got. Hey, Frank, this isn't gonna hurt a bit.
Don't mess with the
There's
kid.
the good puppy. Hello. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. Ow. Let's see.
So there you see, it's all about the entire film is him experimenting on these beagles.
See.
Hey, Dad!
Donald's.
Want to help me practice for tryouts?
There's the soccer ball again. We'll talk about what that means in a minute.
Hey, can I show you?
So the beagle meets a girl dog at the trash can. And of course, the trash can has a Sharona crown on it. It also says TT, which is alphanumerically 2020, pointing forward to 19 years later when the crown would be released.
Something terrific?
Now, there's no other reason why this would be on the front of the trash can. It was put there on purpose. TT 2020.
Brodie's had the best garbage on the block.
Now, I promised you we would talk about the soccer ball in the opening sequences, and you saw it in the other clips that I showed. Well, the soccer ball is on almost every scene where the boy is pictured. He's all into soccer. Now, on its face, that doesn't sound like anything suspicious, but somehow this dovetails into this whole VidCo 19 thing, right? Why? Because the soccer ball has the acrinodrome, we have to call it, stitched right into its design. Now, I can only show you this for a quick second because I believe this image is probably flagged by the algos. So you're going to have to rewind and look at that again. But basically, the design on the soccer ball is the molecular pattern of acrinodrome. And we've seen this soccer ball show up many, many, many times in like Monsters, Inc., Under the Bed. It all has to do with fear. And so now you know why this boy is trapped in a net. Has a much deeper meaning, doesn't it? Now, this is the exact point in the film where the beagle captures the heart of the boy. So instead of the boy being captured in the net, the beagle captures his heart. The boy's jersey number is 3 on the front and 3 on the back. That's 33. Now, 2 of the actors that do voiceovers in the film both share the same birthday. The 80th and 8th day of the year with 80 and 8 days left in the year. Okay. That would be October 4th. That has 80 and 8 days left in the year. Those actors are Susan Sarandon and Charlton Heston. Now, we had covered Susan Sarandon because she owns this ping pong club called Spin. The problem is the word spin has a little I, not a capital I. Weird, right? And this ping pong place is open to all ages. That's all we could say. Now, who is Omega Man? Well, Omega Man is Charlton Heston, and we've talked about him as well. And he also has the same birthday, October 4th. Anytime you see two people with the same birthday in a cast, it usually means something. Now, let's keep going with this because it gets even deeper. What you're going to see next is the spike. And in the film, it actually detonates and it sends spikes everywhere. What?
Ha! Missed.
Now, we've all seen this spike before, right? Because it's the Sharona spike, isn't it? It's the Vidco 19 spike. Now, how did this spike get in the home? Well, this cat infiltrated the home to try to steal the secrets from Brodie's lab by putting a detonation device on the door so he could open the door and get into the lab.
Oh, boom, boom.
Here's the cat here.
What?
Look at the countdown.
What's he doing? Kid!
What?
Stops at 58, 57. We've seen that number over and over and over again, associated with the president under which all this would happen. Thump.
Ah, dogs!
You can't make this up. Let's keep watching.
Come on, kid, hurry!
Ow.
Now, Snoopy is a beagle, right? Now watch this. Because there is a spike connection to Snoopy. Now, I just got this information this morning. One of you guys sent this to me. Because Snoopy has a brother named Spike. Here he is right here. There's Spike, Snoopy the Beagle's brother. How did this happen? Well, Charles Schulz had a beagle when he was a child named Spike. And he basically named Snoopy's brother Spike, and it was actually going to be Snoopy's name, the Beagle. Do you see how all this connects together? So now, this image, or these images, are very bizarre. Because now you have Snoopy, the test subject, kicking away his own brother in these cartoons. Spike. Wow. Like they've got him here in a mask. So what is happening here? Well, I don't really know. I do know that sometimes very evil people will channel the enemy's goals, aspirations, agenda, and wishes. I think that's what's really happening here. That creativity is either spawned out of good, the Most High, and His Son, or it's spawned out of evil. The test subject kicking his own brother away. Unbelievable. Now, here's where things get really weird, because I was decoding a completely separate series that one of you asked me to look at. The series is called Sanctuary. And the spike appears again. Now, this series is about chimeras and bizarre creatures born into this reality, and they all find safety in this place called Sanctuary. Let's watch this montage that I put together here. Look at the license plate, PLG, which probably means plague, and the year 2021, which we're in now. Watch. On the license plate. Now that was the opening scene of the series Sanctuary. What you're going to see next are the same exact themes that we've been covering on this channel for the past several weeks. You're going to see captured kids. You're going to see spikes. You're going to see a serpent in the chest. And you're going to hear discussions about convalescent plasma. Watch. Come here! Russian dolls, too. We talked about that.
Ukrainian or Russian?
Russian.
Russian dolls.
And just the one kid?
There are things in this city, in this world, that no one wants to admit are real.
Who are you?
Let's just say I'm someone who's chosen to embrace the full spectrum of our reality.
Captured kids in a crate, in a box. Serpents in chests.
I'm down with the whole protect and study thing.
Experimentation.
Okay? Peace, love, and incense.
Spikes.
I have your attention.
Yes, you have our attention, and we're exposing you. The same exact image in two separate films that I just happened to be decoding.
I don't like people getting spiked on my watch.
Nobody spikes my van.
Either one or both of you can travel through time. Either that or you're more than one.
I am 157 years old.
The number 57, time travel.
He was dying. I gave him my blood to prolong his life.
Convalescent plasma.
It all went wrong.
Now, I'll be decoding more of that series probably. We'll see. But let's get back to cats and dogs, because there's even more. Now, Brodie opens the door as the cat's putting the detonation device, the spike, on the door to try to get into it. Brodie pops out, opens the door, and smashes the cat. And the cat says, "Ouchie."
Hang on. Okay. Hang on. Good doggy. Huh? Oh, bulbous. Hang on. Hang on. It's a breakthrough. Now, if I could only find a little protein synthesis and electrostatic charge.
So, who is the mad scientist? Well, okay, Casey, did he really say his name? Did he really say ouchie? Well, his name appears again as the Uruguayan Soccer Association, the AUF. Now, think about how random that is. That the boy is wearing an Uruguayan soccer jersey, not any of the other football clubs out there. Look at all these football clubs out there. Let's go to your Football Association. I pulled up just random Football Association logos, right? There's hundreds. Look at all these football associations. But the boy just happens to be wearing a particular football association logo, the AUF, which scrambled is the first three letters of the mad scientist, now dictating the world's policies on the Pokemon sticker.
Stay in the compound.
Ow.
Hang on.
Uruguay versus Chad!
I'm just hours away.
There it is. He gets tickets. AUF. Not so random, is it?
Everything's gonna be okay.
I'm not scared, Mom.
It's all right to be scared. Perfectly natural. We'll be okay.
Mom, really, I'm okay.
There it is, wearing the jersey. Now, everybody knows that Ouchie was born on Christmas Eve. And this film released on the 4th of July in the dead of summer. So there's a very out of context Christmas angle to the film, as you're going to see next.
Research is trying to place it, but they haven't turned anything up. Ring any bells? Nah.
So there it is, and what it is, it's a tree flocking plant. And it's owned by a man named Mr. Mason. Watch.
Look here. A Christmas tree.
Mason Flocking Incorporated. Right? Now, Mr. Mason is basically a talking corpse. And he wears a mask. There's a Lincoln cameo there. Of course, we know who Lincoln is, the It Pennywise clown. He all fits into this as well. The Copper Penny.
Get away with this?
Watch me.
There's Mr. Mason, the talking corpse, and basically this is the Weekend at Bernie's. You could call him the Bo Jivin character, right?
Mr. Mason!
Attention employees, work quickly. Only 7 months until Christmas.
Hi, Mr. Mason. Step out of the way. Morning. Back to work.
Only 7 months till Christmas. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that the 4th of July is almost the exact halfway point in the year. So it marks halfway from January to Christmas, right? So you have 7 and 7.
Hello, sir.
This is your employer, Mr. Mason. Effective immediately. You are all fired.
So, of course, the cat comes into the flocking plant and takes it over because his original plan is to distribute the toxin through tree flocking, which, of course, is in every American's home. So the first thing he does is fire all the employees so that the cats can take over the plant and basically infect the flocking and then infect all of America with this allergen, right? And I believe this is the whole thump aspect. This is thump right here. You're fired.
Your employer, Mr. Mason. Effective immediately. You are all fired.
Both of these are Joes. Joe and Joe, right? Don, Joe, Thump, and Bo, Joe, Jivin. Both Joe and Joe. J and J.
Go home now. Oh, well, you see, my quote-unquote master's fake snow is the perfect medium for carrying your disease.
So that was the original plan. Now, here's Brodie again, the mad scientist, and he tests this crap scene exposure on the Beagle. And look at, he's got the mask on, just like the whole Beagle story, right? Stuck their head in a box and expose them to the sandflies. And this is exactly the opposite of what they had accused Ouchie of doing to the Beagles. Exposing their heads, locking them in these boxes. So this has been going on for a very, very long time. And at its core, let's talk about this for a second before we finish this up. Which altar do we bow at? The altar of faith or the altar of science? That is at the core of this argument. The atrocities that have been done in the name of science for our preservation of life. He who seeks to preserve his life will lose it. Well, don't you think that might have a little bit to do with what's at the core of all this research? Do you understand that most of the cancer research comes out of a particular set of cells? Do you understand that? A particular set of cells that YouTube is so sensitive about that I can't even tell you the name of them. Doesn't that ring a bell? Doesn't that concern you? It should. Because that is the basis of our health system. At the core of its foundation are deaths and very, very, very bad things. Not just on Beagle puppies, but on many other things. I got news for you. If you knowingly do this and take part in this, then I don't believe good things will happen for us in trying to preserve our lives. I'd much rather go with God. If I came down with one of these illnesses that used these kinds of things for their research in their past and history. Because at least I would know I would have eternity on the other side. I don't want anything in this reality. So, Brodie finds a cure. Remember Brodie, who made the Polio crap scene in real life? He finds a cure. But then the Beagle, what happens is the family gets kidnapped. And so the Beagle here ends up turning the cure back over to the cats to try to save the family.
Get it.
I thought I told you to buy a real gun.
Now here's where things get really creepy and strange, because Alec Baldwin does a voiceover in this film. Remember Alec Baldwin, the guy who accidentally discharged a prop and killed someone? Well, he's one of the dogs in the film, one of the main dogs. And here, there's a scene where the evil cat asks for a real GUN, but then they give him a fake one, but the fake one actually has real boo-boo-lets inside.
I have a very, very special gift.
What? Whoa.
There he is. He's Butch the dog.
I thought I told you to buy a real gun.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What possible use could I have for this?
What possible use could I have for this? But it actually ends up burning down where he's got these people captured.
I thought I told you to buy a real gun. I thought I told you to buy a real gun.
So fire pops off here. Now, what ends up happening is the flocking plant is destroyed because the dogs come and rescue them and they foil the cat's plan. So the cats have to actually pivot and use a different way to distribute the disease. So what they come up with is mice. They're going to they're going to infect these mice by spraying from airplanes. Watch, this is unbelievable.
Hey, I'm so clever. How can you possibly spread the allergy to the world?
There's the airplanes here. You can see them flying over the mice, infecting them. We all know what those are. Trails that are chemical. Let me play that back again so you can see that one more time.
Possibly spread the allergy to the world.
Mice! Mice! The unlikeliest of allies. Thousands of you covered in concentrated dog allergy.
So they can cover them in concentrated dog allergies and send them into the sewer. And he promises the mice a block of cheese and the continent of Australia.
And you will be given your much-deserved reward.
And the continent of Australia.
You will make your way across the nation. Half of you will infiltrate homes, infecting every human in sight, while the other half, and with the dogs out of the way, cats will overthrow the humans.
And the continent of Australia.
And of course, Australia is the poster child of where they want the whole world to be. Complete and total domination and erasure of people's rights and medical freedoms. So, you're probably asking yourself, what is happening here, Casey? This is bizarre. What is going on here? Well, here's what I believe is happening and what we've stumbled upon. Somewhere, somebody has a script. Not scripture, but a script. An unholy script of all the notable world events, future, past, and present. Look at it as like basically a satanic Bible. And much of their agenda within this book makes it into entertainment media. Why? To subliminally program humanity to accept this future agenda. Now, you can ignore this and be afraid of it, but understand that this makes up your reality. This is all around you. And if you ignore it and don't want to see it and bury your head in the sand, then it will program you. You will fall victim to the programming. Prime example, the Christian community who fell to the programming of Thump and the Pokemon sticker program. Prime example, someone you thought was saved and, knew the gospel, knew the enemy's vices, fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Because why? Because they didn't see the programming. They didn't see how they were subliminally prepared to accept this. Now, I've been decoding these films for 10 years, and I have no doubt in my mind that this is the case. After all these hundreds of thousands of I would say hundreds of decodes, and seeing these patterns repeated over and over again in the script across different writers. People ask me, well, Casey, we need to get down to the writers of the script. Well, that doesn't seem to matter because different writers are using the same themes. The same themes pop up across different writers, just like in God's Holy Bible. The same themes pop up amongst different writers because it's the Spirit of God behind the gospel and the scriptures, right? Well, the spirit of the enemy is behind the writers. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to try to call out the writers because they're just doing what their master is telling them to do. And if you write this stuff, you need to do a gut check because this is what's really going on. So I was very careful, which is why I had to pause often in this decode today, because YouTube has stepped it up a notch in terms of identifying things that they don't want to go mainstream. So, and I've felt this ongoing pressure to be careful, and it's been ramping up as we go into the end of the year. I don't know why that is, but it is palpable. Is that the word? It is palpable. I can feel it. And so this is why I have to be careful. So let's go into the chat here and see what you guys are up to. Now understand that probably about half to 3/4 of today's presentation actually came from all of you guys. I didn't know this movie existed. One of you sent it to me. All I did was continue to research it and look at the different connections and put together the presentation for you guys. So understand that I'm not this person that sits around all day looking for things to connect and trying to find movies that meet what I believe the reality is. This has come from you guys. Okay. So I just want you to know that, because oftentimes people will criticize this channel. I heard someone say the other day, oh, he puts stuff up every day because, he's trying to do this. Look, the reason why we upload every day is we got to keep up with this stuff. If we don't keep up with it, it will get ahead of us. All right. All right. Let's go into the chat here. See what's up with you guys. Watch Thor of Ragnar. Okay. And understand that, look, this is a labor of love. So I do this so that you don't have to, right? I do this so that you don't have to do this stuff, because this is hard work. All right. And I would hope that, God is putting us in the right place at the right time to uncover and reveal what we need to see for the future moving forward. I would hope that that's the case. I think we can all agree, which is why a lot of us didn't fall victim to the big operation that we're going through right now. Okay. We were prepared for this. We were already talking about it before it happened, even though we didn't realize it. We were already talking about it. So God prepared us for this. So he had us on the right track to deal with this and to not fall victim to the deception, didn't he? And so now at this point in time, I'm thinking that the things we're covering now will also prepare us for what is to come, so we don't fall victim to it. So, wow. Australia is a large-scale invasion of my... Are you kidding me? Says Barb Henry Besser. Wow. So there you go. Let's look that up. Wow. Let's look at, wow. Yeah, there you go. Unbelievable. Millions of mice in Australia. Looks like Vice covered it. Holy moly. Wow. Here's Scientific American. So basically, the film... This was, I can't even believe this. I can't even believe this. So there you go. And there will be more and more and more confirmations. This is just the beginning. But they're saying that drought and extreme rainfall led to infestation in nation's farming areas. It could get a lot worse. So that's exactly what happened in the film. We're not going to read the rest of that, but I'll put links to all this in the pinned comment. Great observation there. Wow. Whew. Rivers of mice, says Anne. Whoa. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and pop off of here. I'm going to continue watching this Sanctuary series. The clip that you saw of Sanctuary was only from the first 2 episodes. So there's probably much, much more in the whole chimera aspect to all that. I believe that's going to play a role in all of this as well in our current reality. We will see how it does, but crazy. We'll be back on here tomorrow with Between the Headlines. Got a lot of stories already pulled up, and there will be more. I'll probably pull up another 5 or 10 stories that relate to what we want to cover, and we'll stay up to speed on that. I love each and every one of you. Again, this is your channel just as much as it is mine. I don't always respond to the things that you guys send me, but I'll oftentimes use them. And please be patient. If you only get a short response from me, it's because pretty much all day I'm just reading emails, comments, editing, watching films. So I don't have a lot of free time. So, and if I use something that you send me, please don't get your feelings hurt if I don't name you or mention you. Many of you don't want to be mentioned, but understand that God is working through you. Okay. And hopefully that's evident by the diligence and the attention that I give something when the Holy Spirit tells me to dig deeper. Okay. Understand that God just used you to actually get the truth out there and help other people wake up. And that's a blessing. You're actually doing something, right? Because tens of thousands, millions of people watch this channel over the years. And just know that at least one person is going to wake up from something that you sent me. All right. And please don't get your feelings hurt if I don't use what you send me, because that's just the Holy Spirit guiding me and saying, okay, we're not going to cover that right now. And it's okay to be persistent. If you really feel strongly about something, you really feel like, God is using you to, give something to me, and I haven't picked up on it yet, but you are determined that it is the case, just be persistent, maybe email me once a week and say, Casey, I really think you need to take a look at this. Okay. And then in my mind, that will be repeated. And if God says you need to decode this, then I'll do it. Okay. But understand that none of this is because of me. I'm just a person. I'm just a person. But I've dedicated my life to trying to listen to the Holy Spirit and where God is leading us. So this is all the glory goes to God, not me. And you guys get a lot of credit too, because you guys are the ones working with me to try to break all this down. I love each and every one of you guys. Have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow.